We all like to make predictions for Game of Thrones, but have you ever given yourself a prediction score? After working on this video, I highly recommend it, it's a lot of fun. Especially when you make up your own scoring rules. Today I'm going to give myself a score on the Season 7 predictions that I made in this video. I made many more prediction videos after this one, but these were my most vanilla predictions, before I had seen or heard anything related to any leaks. So let's see how I did. You're now watching Because Geek. Daenerys probably wants to hit King's Landing from both sides, land and sea. So I think her plan will be to stop at Dorne first and attack later after she splits her army. Okay, this one I got half wrong. Dany didn't make a stop in Dorne, but she did make a stop in Dragonstone before splitting her army. So I'm going to give myself half a point to correct predictions and half a point to wrong predictions. But I also think Daenerys will lose some of her army at sea. Yes, she lost a bunch of her Greyjoy ships with Yara and the Sand Snakes, so I got this one right. There will be a storm, or Euron will bring the storm, aka himself, and there will be a ship battle. A ship battle involving Euron wasn't too hard to guess, so I will only give myself half a correct point here. This means that once Dany gets to Westeros, she will be too weak to attack. Dany wasn't too weak to attack when she got to Westeros, but she did get weakened a lot when she was there.
All my allies are gone. They've been taken from me while I've been sitting here on this island.
So I will give myself half a point for each right and wrong. And she will need to go with a diplomatic route in which Tyrion and Theon can help her. Now, going with a diplomatic route did happen.
Daenerys wants to meet to discuss an armistice.
But not for the reasons I stated.
She's just won a great victory. Why would she want a truce now?
Because an army of dead men is marching on the Seven Kingdoms.
So again, another half point for each. And Tyrion did help her with this diplomatic route.
She's even willing to suspend the hostilities if Cersei agrees to certain terms.
But Theon didn't. So again, one more half point each. Tyrion won't be able to stay in Dorne for long because once he finds out that Ellaria killed Myrcella, he won't be able to work with her or be close to her. I've already given myself a wrong point for the Dorne landing, so I won't count that bit. Myrcella did get brought up between Tyrion and Ellaria.
I know how you wage war. We don't poison little girls here. Myrcella was innocent.
She was a Lannister. There are no innocent Lannisters.
But Tyrion was still able to work with her.
My greatest regret is that Oberyn died fighting for you.
That's enough. Though Tyrion is Hand of the Queen, you will treat him with respect.
So I will give myself another 2 half points for each right and wrong. So he could get sent to the north to put his diplomacy skills to good use. Tyrion being sent north is a big one, so I'll take 1 whole point in my incorrect score. And get the North to join forces with Dany. He could use his connection with Sansa to accomplish this. Tyrion didn't do this directly, but Sansa did vouch for him to Jon before the alliance was made.
You know him better than any of us. What do you think?
Tyrion's not like the other Lannisters. He was always kind to me.
And Tyrion also helped later, when he talked to Jon and Dany separately.
I'm asking if there's something I can do to help you.
Why are we talking about glass? We just lost 2 of our allies.
Which is why I was speaking to Jon Snow, a potential ally.
I will allow you to mine the dragon glass and forge weapons from it. Any resources or men you need, I will provide for you.
He may not have been responsible for them falling in love, but he definitely helped in getting them to work together. So 1 whole point for a correct prediction here. It would make sense for Theon to help out here as well because of his connection with the Starks. Theon didn't help at all. So 1 whole incorrect point here. And he will probably try to redeem himself once more. Theon did try to redeem himself again when he talked to Jon and also when he fought Harrock. But again, it didn't happen exactly in the way that I thought it would. By making the Starks see that he has brought them an awesome ally that can destroy the Starks' enemies and restore Westeros to what it used to be. So 2 more halves here. Jon won't be happy that Dany's coming to conquer Westeros.
I mean no offense, Your Grace, but I don't know you.
Well, obviously Jon wasn't going to be happy, so only half a correct point. But once he finds out that she's bringing dragons with her, he will realize that Dany has the weapon that they need to fight the White Walkers. Okay, well, it was Davos who realized that Dany's dragons would be valuable.
What?
Fire kills whites, you told me. What breathes fire?
But that to me seemed like a line that was given to him just so that he would have something to say in that scene. I don't believe that Jon wouldn't have realized that on his own right away when he read the message himself. But either way, I think we can still count this one as correct. But it was also very obvious, so I'll take another half correct point. I know that Dragonglass was also part of the deal and I didn't say anything about that, but I can't add incorrect points for failing to say that something would happen, so yeah. So he could send Dany a message saying that he will claim her Queen of Westeros and bend the knee to her if she helps him defeat the White Walkers. Wrong. Jon did not send Dany a message, and he did not offer to bend the knee if she helped, so 1 whole point to the incorrect score. Dany may not believe in the White Walkers at first, but something will convince her. Yes, I know this one was obvious as well. And to be fair, saying that something would convince her was a very vague prediction, so once again, I will give myself only half a point. But Dany and her dragons will be late to the fight. A lot of people will have died by the time she makes it there. I said this because I thought that it would take her so long to decide to help Jon that the dead would have gotten past the wall before she made up her mind, and would have already killed a lot of people in the north. Things happened kind of similarly in a way when she went to rescue Jon and his team because she could have gone with them from the start. But the whole context of the situation is completely different, and not a lot of people died, only Thoros and a few red shirts, so I feel like giving myself 1 whole incorrect point for this one. Jon will need the rest of Westeros to be aware of what's coming, so Jon will probably leave Sansa in charge of Winterfell while he rides south with his bannermen to warn the other houses and recruit them for the fight against the White Walkers. I really want to give myself a whole point for Jon leaving Sansa in charge of Winterfell.
I'm leaving both in good hands.
Whose?
Yours.
But the reason that Jon left was a bit different.
Lord Tyrion has invited me to Dragonstone to meet with Daenerys, and I'm going to accept.
Although, the reason wasn't that different. Jon did leave to get help, so let's do this. I will give myself half a point for Sansa, plus half a point for Jon leaving to get help as correct predictions. And then, half an incorrect point for sort of incorrectly predicting the reason why he was leaving. I can also see him sending the rest of his army up to the wall to defend it with what's left of the Night's Watch. Ed can't leave the wall, and Jon wouldn't abandon his best friend up there and let him die alone. Okay, Jon had a good reason not to help his friend Ed. Jon knew that the dead would hit Eastwatch by the Sea and not Castle Black, so half an incorrect point there. But Jon did reinforce the wall, or at least Eastwatch by the Sea, with Tormund and the Wildlings.
The closest castle to Hardhome is Eastwatch by the Sea.
And that's where I'll go. Looks like we're the Night's Watch now.
So half a correct point as well. And yes, I still think the White Walkers will get past the wall, probably near the end of the season. Correct! Not super hard to guess, but I'll splurge and give myself a whole point because I got the timing of the event right as well as the event itself, so you could say that that's 2 halves. Littlefinger will stay behind with Sansa at Winterfell, and will continue on his manipulating game. Not terribly hard to guess, so half a point. He will start plotting against Jon, maybe convincing people who are still there that Sansa is their true savior. He didn't really plot against Jon, he was more focused on Arya and Sansa, and we also don't know if he had anything to do with the Northern Lords wanting Sansa over Jon, so that part is left to interpretation. I'll take half an incorrect point. Sansa will only act as if she's trusting Littlefinger, but she will never fully trust him. She will become smart enough to use him to her advantage. Well, she didn't use him to her advantage per se, but the rest is very correct. Even though the whole plot felt a bit clumsily done, Sansa did only act as if she was trusting Littlefinger, and she did smarten up in the end as well.
You stand accused of treason. How do you answer these charges, Lord Baelish?
So, another whole correct point. He's a smart man though, and I'm sure he's still playing a very strong game. What if the throne isn't really what he wants? What if he was only trying to confuse Sansa? Is Littlefinger still playing mind games? I'd say it's very likely. Okay, I won't even give myself half a correct point for Littlefinger still playing mind games, even though he still was, albeit very poorly, but that's just Littlefinger's character, so that wasn't a prediction. The prediction here was that he would trick Sansa into believing that the things that he wanted were her and the throne, when in fact he wanted something else, which was incorrect. So I will give myself a whole incorrect point here. Why would he still worry about the throne when Jon is telling everyone that the dead are coming? He was in that room when Jon said it. He must have heard about it already. The chaos is a ladder. I had the wrong context, but I will give myself half a point because the chaos is a ladder line was used in the show, and the chances of that happening were very slim.
Chaos is a ladder.
Either way, if he has to die, I think it would be so much better for him not to die, but instead to lose everything, and go back to being nothing and no one. I think to Littlefinger, that would be worse than dying. I think I was hoping for this because I liked Littlefinger so much that I didn't want him to be killed, and found another solution. But after giving it more thought from the perspective of the other characters, it does make more sense to kill him. He's too smart and cunning to be left alive. He could work his way back up the ladder if so. Gotta kill him dead. Really dead.
Like so dead. Like OMG dead.
So, one whole incorrect point. Bran will get past the wall and stay at Castle Black for a while, since it's difficult for him to move around now that he doesn't have Hodor with him. I didn't think that Bran would go to Winterfell. At least not so quickly. So, another incorrect point. Things start to go downhill from here. And I think Bran will stay at Castle Black with Ed while he sends Mira to find her dad, Howland Reed, to tell him about what Bran saw in his vision, and to ask him to tell Jon about his parentage. Yeah, I think it'll be Howland Reed who reveals it to him. Nah, this hope for Howland Reed has been so fruitless. Bran did not send Mira to find him, although she did decide to go to him on her own. But not so that he could reveal Jon's parentage, so I'll take one whole incorrect point. I also think that Bran will spend most of his time figuring out how to defeat the Night's King, maybe going back in time to see how it was done the first time. Okay, first of all, Val, it's the Night King and not the Night's King. And yeah, no, Bran didn't try to figure out anything. He simply just watched the Night King to keep track of where he was and what he was doing. But this could still be correct in Season 8, so only half an incorrect point. The Night's King showed us some of what he can do already. When he touched the ground and he sent a wave that cracked the ice underneath. Yeah, I really doubt that's the last time we will see him do that. I have a strong feeling that he will be doing that again, probably at the Wall. Well, if David and Dan used foreshadowing correctly, I'm just salty. Showing us that this is something the Night King can do could have been a great setup for a future payoff, by showing us the Night King cracking the ice again in a more dire situation at a larger scale, like when he got to the Wall. Or maybe during the White Capture mission they could have had the characters hide behind a big block of ice while trying to escape from the Night King, and then having the Night King crack that thing. I guess in a way it did have a payoff because it showed us that the Night King can control ice somehow, so seeing him throwing a perfectly carved ice spear wasn't that jarring because it was just another icy power, like the ice cracking thing. But when you have so many people making fun of the Night King being able to throw a spear, you know that the writers are not being consistent enough when showing the Night King's abilities. The only thing that has connected all of his powers so far is basically just the ice element. There are no rules behind it all. Especially after the Ice Dragon scene. At this point, the Night King could basically do anything, which messes with our suspension of disbelief. One whole incorrect point. I'm not doing very well. Arya won't be going back home just yet, but I think meeting the Hound will happen, which means she will meet the Brotherhood Without Banners, which will remind her of those other names, Lord Beric Dondarrion and Thoros of Myr. And yeah, I do think she may try to cross them off the list, but I think something will stop her. Maybe the Hound will. Okay, so Arya did not meet any of those people, but again, this is something that could still happen in Season 8, so I will add only half an incorrect point. I also think that Arya may let them know about what she did at the Twins, and how it's ripe for the taking now. Arya never mentioned to anyone that she killed the Freys, and I highly doubt that it'll come into play in Season 8, but you never know, so half an incorrect point.
Who else is on your list?
Most of them are dead already.
She may have released her Uncle Edmure too before she left. Everyone expected this, but nope. It did not happen. And I know there was a big confusion amongst people regarding the location of Edmure after Riverrun was taken, because it was explained very vaguely. Yes, Jaime did offer to take him to Casterly Rock and give him better treatment, but later on when Jaime and Walder Frey are talking during their celebration, Walder says that Edmure is back in a cell.
Edmure's back in the cell. Can't go killing my son by law, wouldn't be right.
Since he said a cell and not the cell, it's left to interpretation which cell Walder is talking about. The one at the Twins, or one at Casterly Rock. It was also possible that Edmure was back at the Twins temporarily, while the Lannisters were there, and that he would be transported to Casterly Rock when they left. But it made more sense that he would be back at the Twins for good, because it would have been the perfect place for Edmure to be when Arya killed the rest of the Freys in Season 7 and went down to the dungeons to release him. Walder Frey's line was the perfect setup, but the payoff we were all waiting for never happened. Not even at Casterly Rock, which the Unsullied have already vacated. Edmure's storyline seems to have been dropped completely. Either way, I'll take one whole incorrect point, for rushed, sloppy writing. Yeah, more salt. Add more salt. And I guess Edmure could go back to Riverrun and get his army back and take the Twins. Obviously, Edmure didn't take the Twins, so I'll take another half incorrect point for this. But I'm being a bit too harsh on myself. I did mention that there were a lot of Freys left alive, but I mean there must be a lot of Freys left there. Arya only killed 3 of them, and Walder Frey had a lot of sons and daughters, implying that they would have to be dealt with, and they were dealt with. So, yeah. But yeah, the Brotherhood Without Banners is going north though, and I don't think that's where Arya will be heading. I think Arya will continue to try to head south to King's Landing.
You heading south?
King's Landing.
Poor girl.
Arya may not have gone to King's Landing, but I didn't say that she would. I said that she would try, which she did. So I gotta give myself a whole correct point here for using the correct words. And God, I'm still crossing my fingers so hard for her to meet Nymeria somewhere. I didn't make it sound like a prediction in this video more than just a hope, but I did make this prediction in multiple videos after this one, so that's one more correct point for me, yay! But going back to the other names on her list that she didn't mention to the waif, the Red Woman, Melisandre. She took one of Arya's best friends away from her, Gendry. So I think that if they meet again, like Mel said they would, Arya's hatred towards her will still be very much alive, and she will attack her. I doubt Arya has the necessary skills to kill Melisandre though. We know Mel has ways to easily kill those who try to kill her. But I think Mel will just let Arya know that Gendry escaped and he's still alive. If she does, then Arya wouldn't have a reason to keep her on her list anymore. And if Mel finds out that her name is Arya Stark, Jon's half-sister, she may want to help her out. And we may get a strange relationship growing between the two of them. No, none of this happened in Season 7, but there's still a chance for it to happen in Season 8, so I will take half an incorrect point there, and then add another half incorrect point just because of the amount of detail that I added to this prediction. I think that if Euron does attack Dany's fleet, it will be too early for him to die. He may be taken prisoner if they fight in the sea. I was sure that Euron would lose because I thought that he would have to deal with Dany's dragons, and there was no way that show Euron would win against that. That's why I said that the only two options for him would be to either die or be taken prisoner, and since it was too early for him to die, I picked the other option based on a process of elimination. But David and Dan found a workaround to allow him to win that sea battle, so I'll take the whole incorrect point here. If he doesn't attack Dany at sea though, I think Euron may also end up raiding Old Town, where Sam is. Yep, add another incorrect point. They may also raid High Garden. This would disturb the Tyrell side of Dany's army, because they would want to go defend the Reach before attacking King's Landing, and Dany may lose some soldiers in that process. Euron did not do this, but Dany did lose her Tyrell army, which is something that I genuinely thought would happen, independently of Euron. So I will add half a point for each side. Now, Sam, like a lot of people have been saying, will most likely find something important at that library. Maybe the key to beating the White Walkers, or just something helpful.
The Targaryens built their first stronghold there when they invaded Westeros.
That's dragonglass.
A mountain of it.
Way too obvious to be proud of this one, so only half a correct point here. And I also think the Valyrian steel sword Heartsbane will be important in Sam's story, not only as a weapon against the White Walkers, but something else. He may be able to use it to defend himself or Gilly and the baby if Euron does end up raiding Old Town. Yeah, Heartsbane didn't even get mentioned, but this could still happen in Season 8. So I'll just take half an incorrect point for that one. In King's Landing, Cersei will be feared but not loved, and I would love to see the peasants turning against her. I just hope they're not too scared to do so. We weren't shown what the people in King's Landing thought about Cersei, so I can't say that I was right or wrong. All we know is that they were quite fond of Euron. I guess I should still give myself half an incorrect point though. I think Jaime is going to be angry with her and arguing with her a lot. Yes, Jaime did in fact argue with Cersei a lot, but this was an easy guess, so I'll only take half a correct point for that. But I don't think he will have anywhere else to go, so he will stay there with her to defend her, especially after they hear about the Targaryen army coming for them. Jaime staying with her to defend her deserves a whole correct point, since a lot of people thought Jaime would leave her after the explosion of the Sept and Tommen's death. Of course, he did leave her in the end, but what I meant with this prediction is that it would still take a lot more to make that happen, and that was correct. Qyburn may also tell Cersei about Euron, and they may try to make an alliance there. We didn't see Qyburn telling Cersei about Euron, but I'm sure that all of the news about what's happening around Westeros are communicated to Cersei through Qyburn. I won't give myself any half point for this one though, because it was left to interpretation. But I will take a full correct point for the alliance between Cersei and Euron, which some people thought was obvious, but others didn't see it happening. But Jaime won't like it for obvious reasons. Euron may try to get Cersei to sleep with him in exchange for his services.
And you deserve a proper reward for your heroism.
There's only one reward I want.
Yep, definitely one more correct point. And I also agree with those who say that Cersei will end up burning everything to the ground. I think that when she sees that everything is lost and the throne is about to be taken away from her, she will burn down the Red Keep, because if she can't have it, no one else can have it. This is another thing that could still happen in Season 8, so only half an incorrect point. Let's talk about Cersei's death now. I think she will still be alive for the entirety of Season 7. One correct point. If she dies, it would be at the very end of it. After this statement, I go on talking a lot about how Cersei could die, but that was all based around the if she dies possibility, not based around the she will die prediction. I was clearly leaning a lot more towards her surviving until the very end, so I hope you guys are okay if I just give myself only half an incorrect point here. Yeah, cool? Thank you. Oh, Jaime, what can I say about Jaime? I think he still has a little while to go. I don't think we will see him die this season either. Correct! 1 whole point. Except maybe at the very end when Cersei dies. Damn it, Val, couldn't keep your mouth shut, could you? Half an incorrect point. At first I thought maybe Dany would be the one to kill Jaime, to pay for the crime of kingslaying, especially since it was her dad he killed. But Dany has Tyrion with her now. Would Tyrion be able to convince her to listen to what Jaime has to say? He would try to save his brother, that's for sure. I've never seen Dany be so merciful, so I kinda doubt it. But I don't think Tyrion would continue to be a happy queen's hand if she killed Jaime unjustly. Yeah, 1 whole incorrect point. None of this happened. It was all done very differently. Who knows, maybe Dany won't even get a chance to meet Jaime. Maybe Jaime will die before that. Dany did meet Jaime, but it was more of a group meeting than a one-on-one get-to-know-each-other type of thing. So half an incorrect point there, but I will take another full incorrect point for saying that Jaime would die before meeting her. Like Cersei, he will prefer death over being taken by Dany. Well, Jaime is now voluntarily joining Dany, so this didn't and can't happen. 1 last incorrect point. And with that, we are done! Woo! We are done with all of the predictions that I made in that video. And my final score is 20.5 points correct and 26 points incorrect. So my percentage of success is 44 point a whole bunch of numbers, so 44.1%. Yeah, it's less than half, but it's not too bad considering how difficult it is to make predictions on Game of Thrones these days. So there you have it. I did make a lot of other predictions in other videos, so I may score myself on those as well. We shall see. But I dare you to score yourself on your own predictions. I mean, if you wrote them down. And you know, you don't have to be so public about it, you can keep it to yourself, but like I said at the beginning, it's actually quite fun to do. So leave a like if you like this video, subscribe for more, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one! How about this, guys? I finally finished decorating all of my shelf stuff, and I finally have a new background for my videos. I'm loving it. I don't know, it's pretty cool. I got this poster in Northern Ireland, so legit stuff from the heart of Game of Thrones. I'll assume that you guys understand what I'm trying to say.